Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then prove it. Smash the subscribe button and the like button, and please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. And welcome to Saturday's edition of the DC Daily. And big news, rumours from all round. But this is massive. Not only will Zattana get second billing in J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot's exclusive Justice League Dark TV show, straight to streaming TV show, exclusive to HBO Max, she's actually going to get her own film. So all I know about Zattana is that she can do magic, and I saw her in the final 3 seasons of Smallville reoccur. It was a really good version, but let's have a look at her fact file, and let's look at her association with Justice League Dark as well, just so we can refresh our memories and see what this character's all about. Real name, Zattana Zattara. Current alias, Zattana. Aliases, Mistress of Magic, Sorceress Supreme. Relatives, John Zattara, father deceased. Cinderella mother. Zack Zattara, cousin. Affiliation, Justice League Dark. 7 Soldiers of Victory. Justice League Team Wonder. Base of Operations, Hall of Justice, Washington, D.C., formerly the House of Mystery. Status, alignment good, identity, public identity, race, homo magi, citizenship, American, marital status, single. And here's a quote from her. Easy, no, but possible because this is my territory. Spells, hocus pocus, demons. It's meat and drink to me. Zattana is a powerful homo magi. She is an important member of the Justice League Dark, using her magic to fight dark magic threats. History. Origin. Zattana Zattara was the daughter of famed magician Giovanni John Zattara. Zattana was a successful stage illusionist herself before she discovered her true magical powers. She was once in a relationship with the powerful mage Nick Necros in New York City. John Constantine came to the city to study under Nick, who became obsessed with the search for the books of magic. As a result of his obsession, John and Zattana were alienated from him and fell in love with each other. Nick felt betrayed and tried to have them both killed by the cult of the Cold Flame. Fortunately, they turned the tables and his soul was sent to hell. Eventually, though, John characteristically broke her heart. Their relationship was further strained by the fact that one of his schemes intended to save the world resulted in her father's burning to death before her eyes. Let's just read this little excerpt which says, with the Justice League Dark in the dark. So I think this is a graphic novel story, so let's give this a little read, just so we know a bit more about the character. Sometime later, after discovering that the Enchantress had become a threat to reality itself, Zattana reunited with Constantine in Madame Xanadu's so-called Justice League Dark, along with Shade and Boston Brand. Xanadu had seen an apocalyptic future which she warned would come to pass if they did not all join together in fighting the Enchantress. As it happened, the Enchantress was seeking to reunite herself with June Moon, and if you've seen her Suicide Squad, you know all about that. The human aspect of herself. Eventually, John, Constantine, and Mindwarp managed to bring about a series of events that led to the pair's merging. When they realised that the whole ordeal was caused by Xanadu's having split the Enchantress from June Moon in the first place, the team disbanded. So that's just a little bit of a history for Zattana, and what we can quickly see. And in this article that I read, actually looking deeply at her, and it would just take up too much time, is she crosses over with a lot of DC characters. Dr. Fate, mostly she's with John Constantine. But there's so many great characters in the Justice League Dark universe, and I think this is why everyone's excited about J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot developing this straight-to-streaming TV show exclusive to HBO Max. So just reading that, we can see that Zattana is a very fascinating, intriguing character. She can do magic. Her father could do magic. There's a lot of darkness. This is not just kind of a silly, light, watered-down DC character. This is actually a very interesting character and as relevant as the other DC heroes. And so the rumour is that she's going to have second billing in J.J. Abrams' straight-to-streaming TV show, but also she's going to get her own movie, and which leads to another rumour, unfortunately, and which we're going to go through. It's an article from Screen Rant. I don't want to read it, but I think we have to go through this so I can educate you about this actor. So just reading the little history of Zattana and just going through who she's aligned with, it's very, very interesting. And for me, this is about this multiverse strategy that Jim Lee and Walter Hamada have been working through since the Calamity, which was Justice League, right? So already you've got two versions of Zattana. One that they're developing to have second billing in the Justice League Dark straight-to-streaming TV show, and obviously a different Zattana in the movies, not unless it's going to be the same one. But if they are doing a multiverse strategy, and again, this is interesting, will Abrams' Justice League Dark be another Earth, or will it be part of Zack Snyder's DCEU? Because if that's on HBO Max, but then again, different universes could be aligned in different places, and just because you're on HBO Max, it doesn't mean you're part of the Snyderverse. It's all very exciting. I love Zattana. I loved seeing her on Smallville. I've loved seeing her in the Justice League animated series, and she's a really good, bona fide character. But here's Screen Rant to wipe away my good feelings. Jamelia Jamil campaigns for DC movie role as Zattana. Oh my God. Why? Why do you do this to me? Actress Jamelia Jamil of The Good Place expresses her desire to play the DC character Zattana if there would be a film about the superhero. Actress Jamelia Jamil may have her eyes on the role of the DC hero Zattana. Jamil, who is most well known for her role as Tahani on The Good Place, is currently hosting the TBS game show The Misery Index. Hardly a step up, is it? See what your big mouth gets you, sweetheart? Since rapping on The Good Place, Jamil has also lent her voice to various productions, including small role on DC Universe's animated series Harley Quinn. I'm not surprised she's on that show, right? Sticking it to that patriarchy, eh? Zattana is a DC Comics character created by Gardner Fox and Murphy Anderson, who first appeared in 1964. She's the daughter of Giovanni Zattara. We've been through all this, and acts as a stage magician, but she also has magical superpowers to match those of other DC heroes. She has been included as a side character in a few smaller DC projects, but hasn't had any standalone films or shows. In late 2018, a rumour circulated that Warner Bros. And DC Films might have been in talks about a Zattana movie, but no new information on that adaptation has since surfaced. But there is some news on new adaptation, as we've just been talking about, Screen Rant. Even so, fans online still enjoy speculating on the possibility of a Zattana film. It's happening, by the way. These rumours resurfaced on Twitter recently, catching the attention of Jamil. The actress replied with a tweet containing an image of her in a magician's costume, hinting at the fact she might be a good casting choice for the magical hero. Jamil also makes light of the situation and acknowledges that the project may be unlikely, saying, "I'm too clumsy for this role." But, yeah, you'd never get the role anyway, Jamelia. Despite her self-deprecating comment, the fan response to Jamil's tweet was wholly positive. That's not true. That's not true. She's made a lot of enemies. The post seemed to spark new interest in a Zattana project, which could be a potential opportunity for DC. Though Zattana has appeared on screen before in Smallville, some want to see her take on a larger role in live action. Matt Ryan of Legends of Tomorrow stated earlier this year that he would like for his character Constantine to meet Zattana, and we'll talk about him very shortly on the show, since the two were love interests in the original comics. Though there's no official word on a standalone Zattana movie, an appearance on Legends of Tomorrow could be a big step for the character. That's not going to happen. She's getting, she's going to be involved in Abrams' Justice League Dark. She's going to get her own movie. Forget her appearing on Arrowverse. I mean, there could be another version on Arrowverse. I'm fine with that. This is all part of this multiverse strategy. 3 versions of Zattana. Hey, give us 6. Who's complaining? If not on Legends of Tomorrow, then HBO Max's Justice League Dark TV show shows up. Though the show's roster of heroes hasn't been revealed yet, it will be revealed at the DC Fandom, so look out for that. That would certainly make sense, since Zattana isn't necessarily a well-known enough character to lead her own movie. Right, can I just say something? We don't just have to have well-known characters. How are we going to get to know her? How is she going to get new fans if she doesn't have her own movie? So stop talking nonsense. Any live-action adaptation of Zattana could be an opportunity to include some much-needed female representation in the superhero genre. You see, they just can't leave it alone. Sorry, frog in my throat. DC has found success in the past with the Wonder Woman movie, with the highly anticipated Wonder Woman 1984 on the way. Despite some unfortunate delays, there's clearly a strong market for her. Right, let's forget that. Basically, right, Zatanna is happening. The movie's happening, and the her getting second billing in the Justice League TV show is also happening. So, what can we gauge from all of this? What are they up to? Well, look, the multiverse strategy is obvious, so you can have more than one version of each character. So it'll be interesting what they do with the Justice League Dark TV series, and who's developing the movie. Is it J.J. Abrams? Is it someone else? That'll be interesting. In terms of Jamelia Jamil is a fine actor. She plays a fabulous role on The Good Place. Her performances are amazing, but she's a troublemaker. She's an alt-left feminist, and she can't keep her mouth shut about politics. And we're fed up, aren't we? We're fed up of all of this. We just want to enjoy our TV shows and our movies and our comics and our animated series, and we don't want these people throwing their politics and their hatred all around us all the time. We've had enough, right? So Jamil would do a great job as Zatanna, no question, but we can find someone better and someone that maybe is actually a fan of the character and DC Comics itself. So we see in reading about Zatanna and her history, she has a lot of history with John Constantine, but she's also had a lot of history with Steve Trevor, Dr. Fate, and so many other characters. And that leads me to Steve Trevor. I've seen a 90-minute test screening of Wonder Woman 84. There's certain things I know, there's certain things I don't know. I can't divulge them, obviously. I'd be in a lot of trouble. But the character of Steve Trevor is interesting because I only saw a 90-minute version, I don't know what happens to him, let's say, in that climax of the film, and if he's still in the film. I know he's in the film, but if he survives the film to keep on being with Diana. And so here's my theory. The rumour that Grace Randolph came out with over a year ago about Diana doing something to change the timeline is very vital. I didn't see this in the film. So let's just say that bringing back of Steve Trevor changes the timeline, or maybe the decision she makes to keep him alive changes the timeline. This means Steve Trevor survives 84. Now, does this mean he's immortal or he has an extended life cycle? Something else I couldn't gauge from the 90-minute version of the movie that I saw. So potentially, Chris Pine could have an extended future. Now, the original plan was, when Chris Pine was asked and other people, that Chris Pine would never be involved with the Justice League or anything. But things are changing very quickly over at DC Live Action. The multiverse strategy is very exciting, and I believe it's perfect for Chris Pine. And Steve Trevor is a great character if you read him in the comics, in the history of Wonder Woman. But not just that, in Justice League stories, he appears in the modern world, the past world. He's a very interesting re-emerging character. So it would be great if he survives this film. So he can meet Superman, he can meet Batman, he can meet Zatanna, as I say. So when we flip over to Justice League Dark, what does this mean for Matt Ryan's John Constantine, or any version of John Constantine? John Constantine has to be involved in Justice League Dark, because if they're going to give us some grade C version of the Justice League Dark team, I'm not interested, and you're not going to be interested. We've had enough of that. All the contracts are aligned now. Anyone can feature anyone else, and it doesn't have to just be on a movie. It can be on a streaming show. This is a major opportunity for Warner Media and DC Comics. And I would be absolutely disappointed if Constantine wasn't involved in Justice League Dark. But then he'd have to be involved in the Zatanna movie as well. She's very important. He's very important in her life, as he is to her life, right? So he would have to be involved. And I just think John Constantine's a very important, vital character, because if you're bringing Justice League Dark into the live-action DC universe, then John Constantine has to be everywhere. He can appear with the Justice League Dark. Who knows? He may even appear in Black Adam. I mean, I know he's a modern day character, so maybe he couldn't appear. I don't know. Anyway, anything's possible. If you can do magic, maybe he can travel back in time. I don't know. I'm just reaching here. But what I'm saying is Constantine is very, very important, as is Steve Trevor, to the future of DC live action. And it's going to be very exciting to see what Walter Hamada and Jim Lee have to say about this slate and their future plans. Yes, Ray Fisher strikes back again, and here's Screen Rant to talk about this, hopefully by a better journalist than the article I just read out, because I just got lost there. Justice League star supports women who have spoken out about Joss Whedon. Justice League actor Ray Fisher follows up his claims about Joss Whedon's behaviour on set by voicing support for Kay Cole and Charisma Carpenter. Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, has voiced his support for Kay Cole and I'm sorry about this. So let's start again. Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, has voiced his support for Kay Cole and Charisma Carpenter, two women who have previously spoken out about Joss Whedon on Justice League. Fisher worked with Whedon after the film's original director. Zack Snyder exited the project early. Well, no, Zack Snyder didn't exit the project early. He finished the movie anyway. Whedon was then brought in for reshoots that changed the movie significantly, leading to the famed Snyder Cut. Due to the announcement that Snyder's version of Justice League will release on HBO Max next year, the film's stars have been in the spotlight lately. This is especially the case for Fisher, an early advocate of the Snyder Cut. Early this week, though, Fisher took it a step beyond supporting Snyder and turned his attention to Whedon, tweeting a video of himself speaking positively about Whedon at San Diego Comic-Con. Fisher said he would like to take a moment to forcefully retract every bit of this statement. Only a couple of days later, the actor spoke more specifically about his feelings towards Whedon, accusing him of gross, abusive, unprofessional and completely unacceptable behaviour on the set of Justice League. As of now, Whedon hasn't commented on Fisher's claims. Today, Fisher tweeted about Whedon again, though less directly. He voiced support for Cole and Carpenter, both of whom have spoken out against Whedon in the past. Cole is a film producer and the director's ex-wife, who in 2017 wrote an open letter about her relationship with Whedon, claiming in part that his behaviour in private didn't match his outwardly feminist persona in the entertainment industry. Carpenter, meanwhile, played Cordelia Chase on Whedon's series Buffy the Vampire Slayer and its spin-off Angel. However, Carpenter's storyline changed during season 4 of Angel after she revealed her pregnancy to production. She was eventually written out of the series, with Carpenter suggesting in the past her pregnancy played a role. Check out Fisher's message of support for both women below. I believe Kay Cole and Charisma Carpenter, very, very clever, very clever. Now, why is this clever? Well, we know that guy or actor or whoever it is spoke in Joss Whedon's defence, saying that's not the Joss Whedon he knows and he has a big imagination, but not even his imagination could imagine that. He's clearly lying. Of course he's lying. His mate's in a lot of trouble here, especially if other people that Joss Whedon has wronged have come out. So nice try there. So basically Ray is all in bringing this guy to justice. So he puts that tweet in about supporting these two women. What that does is say, look, there's people who have complained about him before. You know, there's previous here. Now, this is not going to get him cancelled, but this is just the beginning. From this tweet about Whedon, it's clear Fisher stands by his comments from earlier this week. What's more, it shows he believes Whedon's abusive behaviour extended off the set of Justice League. Fisher's statement comes as Hollywood continues to examine its problematic treatment of women as a result of the Me Too movement. Do you know what's funny about that when I talk about Me Too? Me Too has shown no support to Gal Gadot, because we'll talk about those rumours about how Gal was treated, and Ray Fisher, a gentleman of colour, a black man, who's coming out and saying that him and his cast members were poorly treated and abused. Where are Me Too then? No. Is it just the big cases involving rape and sexual harassment that they're interested in? It tells you a lot about that organisation, doesn't it? but I believe has become a well-known start for those supporting women, sharing personal stories of assault, harassment, and encountered misogyny. Right, listen to me. Misogyny is irrelevant, right? Misogyny can be, oh, charisma, make me a cup of tea, make me a sandwich. Now, that's not a very nice thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's not the kind of thing I'd be raising my eyebrows about. And if someone tells you to make a cup of tea, you give them the finger. That's the end of it, right? But if we are talking about rape and sexual harassment and accusations like what Ray's coming forward with, these are very serious and something has to be done about them. Fisher's tweets, especially his claim about Whedon's behaviour, have garnered a lot of attention. This is partly due to Justice League being a high-profile movie, with many still interested in its tumultuous production history. Whedon is also well known and a powerful figure in the entertainment industry, making Fisher's statement potentially risky. However, his statement of support for Colin Carpenter shows he stands by his accusation and believes those who have spoken out about Whedon in the past. This is the thing, right? What he's doing with showing support, as we've already discussed, he's showing there is previous here. Now, let's go to the Gal Gadot situation. I think this is the thing that can slam dunk this guy Whedon. But it's up to Gal to come forward, unfortunately. We don't know how true this is, and obviously Ray's not going to speak for her. He can't. This is a very serious accusation. So it all goes back to that horrible scene when Barry or Wonder Woman lands on Barry or whatever, right? And Barry's like, and then quickly gets off her, right? Now, allegedly, Gal didn't want to do this scene, and Whedon got so annoyed with her, he went up to her face and said, if you don't, I will destroy your career. And he locked her in a room. Now, that's the accusation. Now, if I ever find out this is true, I tell you what, I'll be involved with Joss Whedon's mentions because this is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. And John Bird, can I say your reaction was disgusting too? Maybe I underreacted to it a couple of days ago on the DC Daily, and I want to remedy that. You basically spoke about Ray Fisher not wanting to say booyah. I couldn't give a crap if he didn't want to say that's a trash can, right? Doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. And I know why you came out with that, so you could trash him to the fans, so the fans could turn on him because he didn't want to say a famous pop culture reference. Well, it hasn't worked, John. You and Jeff Johns clearly turned a blind eye to what was going on because you had to get this damn movie done. Because you know why? Because you plotted and schemed to remove Zack Snyder from the production instead of letting him finish his movie, then moving him on. It would have been clean, tidy, and you could have done your thing by now. Hey, maybe Jeff Johns would still be in charge of DC Entertainment. I'm not saying that would have been a good thing, but you're a bunch of idiots. You knew what was going on, and you ignored it because you had to get that movie done. The finances were going on overload. You were in a very stupid position because of yourselves. You put yourselves in that stupid position. But human beings and respect and a good atmosphere on the set is much more important than hundreds of millions of dollars and you furthering your positions within Warner Brothers and DC Comics. So if these accusations about what Gal went through happened, this is absolutely unacceptable and people have to come forward. You know, you can't expect the people, you know, the small timers who worked on Justice League, on the sets, on the designs, or, you know, but there's another video I want to play you, which is very interesting because Kevin Smith has got involved with this as well now. Now, Kevin Smith's a really, really good guy. He really helped push for the Snyder Cut as well. He's very influential in the industry. But on his Fat Man and Batman podcast, he had this to say.
I think I know what that one is. And I don't think that I'm not casting shade like it's dirty stuff. I think I know what the unprofessional is. I'll tell you. Keep going.
And completely unacceptable.
I remember when I went to the Skywalker set, some people had worked on Solo and just both versions of Solo and both versions of Justice League. The special effects guys said that there was like a fair amount of trashing of the Zack's version of the movie on set by Joss. Again, this is what a special effects guy who worked on both versions of the movie told me, but that he would kind of like cut down, dismiss, and be negative about Zack's version, which he had seen, and all these people had made together without him and stuff. And so the guy had said that it was kind of uncomfortable on set because, like, the people that he was talking to about not liking that version of the movie were all people that had made that version of the movie.
Right.
So that, I think, is probably the unprofessional thing. Like, you don't do that, especially if you came in to, help out during a bad moment in the director's life. So. But that's hearsay. That ain't fucking fact or news. That's just what somebody told me. But it does kind of line up with this.
And it also lines up with the second part of the tweet, which is he was enabled in many ways by producers Jeff Johns and John Bird. Because if the studio, as we've all heard, and everybody seems to have gone on the record about saying the studio was unhappy with that version of it, if Joss is going to badmouth that version of it, allegedly,
very allegedly,
then that would be a kind of thing that if the studio representatives are there, they would share that vision and that version of what the movie was.
Right.
And so if the minders are also of the same mind as you are, then why wouldn't you say these things out loud? Maybe that's the enabling.
Well, I'm disgusted. So, Joss Whedon, excuse me again, Joss Whedon was making fun of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Zack's version of Justice League, in front of the people that Zack had casted and employed to work on this film. It's disrespectful and disgusting, and along with the other things, this is a big problem now. And clearly Whedon has got a lot of friends, the type of friends I'm talking about, the dirty kind of friends, who can support him in this. But the problem is, right now, it's Ray Fisher coming forward. But if anyone else comes forward, then this will be interesting. This guy cannot be protected. Now, this takes me to James Gunn, who actually liked a tweet defending Joss Whedon. Now, it's interesting because James Gunn was cancelled himself, around a year and a half ago because of historical tweets about, making jokes about paedophilia, which are things you shouldn't be joking about. But I always said he shouldn't have lost his job over it. Now, before he lost his job, he was very arrogant. He would be very forthright with his political views. But he was very humble when he came back and he was uncancelled. All of a sudden, I've noticed he's becoming very, very bolshy again. And, he has to be careful here. Now, I know he's done the Suicide Squad, which I'm excited about, by the way, and still going to support. But at the end of the day, it's very dumb. You stay neutral. You don't know the situation. And clearly you're backing up a man who is corrupt. And you know who's corrupt. Let's not pretend they don't know what goes on here, right? I mean, I can't imagine, right, if Bryan Singer, when everything came out about Bryan Singer and Kevin Spacey, people started liking their posts. They didn't really have much of a time on Twitter anyway. I mean, Bryan Singer did have a Twitter account. I don't know if he still has. But he wasn't very active on it or anything like that. But I'm just giving you an example. If people started defending them, but people were quite happy to burn them to the ground, right? But when it comes to this, Whedon gets defended. He's a fake male feminist. He pretends he supports women, that he's a nice guy. And this young actor, who has no reason to come forward about this, because let me draw you an example from Superman 2, because Richard Donner made his own version of Superman 2, didn't complete it all, but then he was fired from the project, right, because he didn't get on with all kinds of Hungarian owners who owned the kind of production rights to Superman back then. So they brought in Richard Lester. Now, I remember people saying, we didn't really like the way Richard Lester did things because he didn't do them the same way Dick Donner did, but he was a gentleman. He was a nice man and a great guy to work with. That's the difference. But this guy, Whedon, if he didn't do anything wrong, these people wouldn't be coming after him. And at the end of the day, if these accusations and allegations, alleged allegations of what he did to Gal Gadot, that is extremely serious and he has to be brought to justice. Whether that means he's cancelled, because his career's fucked anyway. What is he actually doing? All he's doing is kind of producing this Buffy reboot. So, look, it's time for other people to come forward. And I think once other people come forward, it's going to be very uncomfortable for people like James Gunn and Joss Whedon's other friends. Now, let's be absolutely clear here. This was before Warner Brothers was bought by AT&T. Warner Brothers is in the guise of Warner Media. Warner Media are not involved in any of this, right? And didn't own Warner Brothers and the other entities and companies that come with Warner Brothers, right? So what I think AT&T want to do is root out all the bad ones from Warner Brothers, which is his own entity, but is owned by Warner Media. So what they've got to do is just remove them all. Now, whether they can remove someone like Jeff Johns ultimately and John Berg, we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, there's a lot of bad that needs to be rooted out. And it will be rooted out eventually. It will take time. But find solace that this multiverse strategy is a genius. We have got a lot to look forward to. I respect Ray Fisher for being brave, but other people need to back him up. And Ray has proved he's going to go all the way with this, and he's proved he's a very intelligent young man, as well as being a very talented young actor too. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DC Daily. See you again soon.